Hello, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Question Time on Islam with Maulana Syed Muhammad Musawi. Do get ready with your questions, any language, certainly Persian, English, Arabic, or Urdu. Maulana is very adept at answering questions around jurisprudence, fiqh, or even ethics, morality, philosophy, history of Islam, particularly from the Islamic scholastic perspective. This is your show. We would like you to call in. If you can't call in, do text us. I think the text numbers are there available as well. And that's another way of getting your question to Maulana, who I'm sure will be more than happy to deal with anything you have an issue with. Even if you're non-Muslim, do call in. There's always space for people who are curious about Islam on this program. And if you want to know more about what Islam is about, Maulana is the perfect person to be able to guide you. Welcome, Sayyidina. Welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you and bless all our brothers and sisters. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu ala Muhammad wa alihi tahirin. I know that we are passing through unusual time. Almost everybody is worried about himself, his family, his children, his friends. The worry nowadays is covering almost all the globe, all the world. People are frightened from coronavirus. Every day, hundreds of people are dying in many countries, and every day, thousands of people are being declared positive in the test of coronavirus. And it is really one of the most serious challenges facing the human beings in this age. The World Health Organization declared the coronavirus as the enemy of human beings. And as you see, we are living in London, and we see that people are completely unusual in their behavior. People are rushing into the superstores and shopping centers and trying to buy whatever they can buy, as if world war is coming very soon. What to do? First of all, I would like to remind myself and my respected brothers and sisters and my dear sons and daughters that what is going on today is a big lesson for us. That look, all human beings, with all your claim that you are much advanced in science and technology and medicine and other sciences, look at the weakness of the human being. All the governments, from the United States to Britain, to all European countries, to China, to India, to any other country, all the powers of the human beings are unable to tackle small virus which cannot be even seen but only by microscope. And all their measures are still not working. Till today they could not reach to any vaccine, any medicine, anything to tackle and to counter the danger of this virus. This confirms that all of us are needy to Allah. As Allah said in the Quran, O human beings, Ya ayyuhan nas, antumul fuqara'u ila Allah. You are the needy to Allah. You are the needy to Allah. And Allah is the needless and the praiseworthy. We need to be remembering our reality and not to go arrogant. We have gone arrogant. Allah says in Quran, ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس. Bad things have come up in the earth and on the sea because of the bad deeds committed by people. Nowadays, in 2020, whole human beings are worried. What happens? What will happen? We don't know. People say that millions of people might die. They say sometimes that as it happened before 1 century in 1919, during the pandemic of the Spain flu, that time tens of millions passed away. Now also can happen, this can happen again. And all the advancements in science and technology is unable to give a solution. So number one, we must admit as human beings that we do need Allah. We do need Allah. We do need our Creator. And we cannot stand alone at all. Those who claim that they can stand alone, they will be crushed. At least the believers who believe in Allah, they have got Allah to seek help from. What the non-believers will do? From where they seek help? From where? From their governments? All the governments are helpless. We have got Allah. And we say, oh Allah, it is in your hands. And we beg to you. We supplicate. We request humbly that you are the only who can help us. With the wasila of your most beloved servants, Muhammad and his holy progeny, Ahlebait. Very important for everyone from us to submit, to seek, in every situation, in sajda, during the night, when you are alone, with your children, with your family, seek from Allah the help. If Allah does not help us, we are lost. So, first and foremost, that this crisis, this crisis which is not being seen, at least in the last century, after the pandemic of Spain flu, we didn't have in the modern history such panic, such danger facing the human beings as it is today. What will happen? Allah knows. We need the help from Allah with the wasila of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. This is number one and most important, to seek help from Allah. And we have got many statements from the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt that if calamity comes on someone and he seeks from Allah help, Allah will help him. But those who don't seek help from Allah, they will suffer and they will not get any help from anyone, anywhere. So we need to go back to Allah, seek help from Him, seek forgiveness. We have gone out of the track. We have behaved as if we are self-sufficient. We don't need Allah. As you know now what is going on in the world, how the bad acts are being legitimized in many countries, in many places, in many cultures. They have forgotten Allah and they thought that they can do whatever they wish, running after their lust and evil desires, forgetting about Allah, we need to go back and say, Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah. Oh, our Lord, forgive us. Forgive us. Forgive our sins. Pardon us. And help us. And we have no one to help us but you. This is number one. I will continue maybe after we take the questions, inshallah.
That's a very, very timely, if you like, message from Syed. And I'm going to continue the theme because as you've started with a contemporary issue, one of the questions we've had come in is very practical. A person who isn't well and he's coughing and sneezing, this person asks, is he allowed, or he or she allowed, to mix with people and attend the Islamic or the other gatherings that are with this COVID-19 situation currently in mind?
No, of course no. No. We are not permitted to risk the health and the safety of others. If you have any symptoms, coughing, sneezing, fever, whatever, don't mix with people. Be at home. Yes, be at home. That is part of your responsibility, to isolate yourself at home or anywhere if you want to go to the hospital, but don't mix with people at all. Don't go to the masjid because you will spread to others something which can be, I cannot say 100% harmful, but it can be harmful. And that possibility itself means you should not do it. We are not allowed to risk the health or the safety of others at all.
Thank you, Syed. Now, we were, I think, in reception of a call. Please do call back. While Maulana was talking, we lost your line there, but do ring again. That's another question around the same issue that somebody sent in, which says, basically, what can we do as Muslims to counter the spread and help the victims of coronavirus?
Okay, what is the responsibility of Muslims to prevent the spread of coronavirus and help the victims? Two parts. First part, how to do, what to do to stop the spread of the virus. Number one, we have to abide to the health instructions, medical advice, washing the hands as advised by the doctors. That way of washing the hand, not any washing of 2 seconds. No, they say you should keep washing the hands for 20 seconds in every time you wash your hands. Never put your hand on your face at all, or in your mouth or in your eyes, or at all. All the medical instructions must be implemented. It is not a joke. It is a matter of life. There is a real risk on life. We hope that it won't reach to that extent. But they say that this virus is so dangerous, it can kill hundreds of millions of people if it goes everywhere without proper protection. So it is a matter of life. Number one, every Muslim should abide to the health instructions. In some cultures, they do things which can be dangerous nowadays. Say, in some countries, they eat pan. You know the pan in the subcontinent? And they spit it on the road or somewhere. This must stop. Those who do it should not do it at all, because they will be causing a possible danger to the health of others. So we should put the precaution first. Jummah namaz is worship, but the worship, though it is wajib, but when it can cause spread of a dangerous virus, we stop it. We pray namaz at home, dhuhr namaz. Islam allows that we pray dhuhr namaz at home. Jummah. So, precaution for saving lives is very important. Muslims should be example for others in the hygiene, in implementing the medical advice, in behaving very well to counter this danger of this virus. Number two, we need to spread the awareness among our children, our family, our friends, telling everyone to be careful. Be careful. We have the habit of shaking hands, which is mustahab, recommended. Yes, recommended. A great sawab for shaking hands with the mu'min. But nowadays, the situation is so dangerous that shaking hands is one of the ways of spreading the virus. So we stop it. When we meet someone, we put our... In any way you can do any way to cheer the other, but without touching his hand or without him touching your hand. So this is very important for us as Muslims. How to help the victims? Helping the victims depends on the situation where he is. Where? Victims in poor countries need to be helped because most of them don't have enough for treatment. Even they don't have enough for getting healthy food. I know thousands of poor families who can easily get this virus because they don't eat properly. They don't have immune system to make them counter the virus. We should help them. Yes, if you know any family, anywhere, try to reach to them. Help them to get proper food, healthy food, to protect the children and other family members from the infection. This situation of coronavirus puts responsibility on everyone from us to do whatever we can do to help the victims and to prevent others from being victims, God forbid.
Thank you, Maulana. We've had a text in from one of our audience, and they're asking whether this coronavirus phenomena can be regarded as azab-e-ilahi, or a kind of a punishment from the divine.
We cannot generalize. No doubt the coronavirus today, in this time in 2020 is a big warning to us, to make us wake up, to know that we are in need to Allah, and to make us return to Allah and seek forgiveness and seek His help. But punishment, Allah knows, because some believers get it, and Allah does not punish the believers, and some non-believers get it. So we cannot say that everyone who is suffering from coronavirus is being punished. No, because the bala, the calamity, the hardship, same hardship comes on the mu'min, believer, and comes to the non-believer. It can be punishment to the non-believer, and it can be a reminder to the believer. What we need to do is to seek forgiveness and help from Allah for protection for us and our families and all mu'mineen and all human beings. Yes, please.
So just a really concerning note that you might be able to pass some advice to, and it's quite serious because it came up on my social media feed relating to this corona issue and Muslims. The note was from Yahya, but he said, so far it's depressing to report that most mosques, I believe this is Sunni mosques mainly he's talking about, have decided to stay open, albeit with what are frankly inadequate restrictions which will be ineffective in preventing mosques and madrasas acting as a means for the coronavirus to spread by people who are asymptomatic. A few leading mosques around the country have taken the decision to close, 2 in Birmingham, Gumkolvia and Green Lane Mosque, but precious few others, East London Mosque, Manchester Central Mosque, for instance, are to remain open. With these tardy and inadequate measures, all but one mosque in Leicester is closed, the rest remain open with restrictions. At a meeting there, the ulama prevailed over the pleas of qualified health professionals in the community to act quickly and with dispatch. This dismal scene has been replicated elsewhere up and down the country. He thinks this is a scandalous direction. What's your advice to these mosques?
It depends on the information. Up to what extent the information has reached us. Before a month from now, or more, a meeting was held in London. And this matter of closing down the mosques was discussed. And many scholars said, no, we don't need to close down. The risk was not clear enough to make the ulama decide to close down the mosques and the religious centers. But now, as on today, the situation is more dangerous. Now, if you ask the medical experts, usually they say, no, don't hold any gathering. So, we have decided, and most of the mosques and the Islamic centers and Husseyniyas, Imam Bargas, Mahfils, all following Ahlebait, that we close down our public activities for the sake of the safety of people. We cannot take the responsibility of spreading the virus to single human being because of Salat al-Jumu'ah or because of Majlis or because of Mahfil or because of any function. No. I hope that those masjids who have not yet decided to stop the gatherings, I hope that they should urgently get in touch with the medical experts in their own community in their own community and seek from them what to be done. As far as the religious verdict is concerned, it is not allowed to risk the life, the safety, the health of people at all. So it is not matter of tawakkaltu ala Allah. Yes, we of course rely on Allah, but Allah gave us aql, and Islam tells us if there is a reasonable possibility of harm, then no. No. The highest scholars, who are the marja of taqleed, they say you must abide to the medical instructions, and no gathering which can danger or which can risk the safety or the health of people. Yes, please.
Some interesting suggestions that you might be able to also just confirm or negate. It's suggested that in this circumstance, the mosques actually could be quite adaptive and use technology like radio, extend it beyond Ramadan licenses to cover the whole crisis period. Streaming services via the internet could be used to provide education through madrasas, and continuing the mosque's adult learning provisions. The Friday collection could be collected virtually through regular bank payments or crowdfunding donations after the virtual Friday Bayan, replacing the physical Friday khutbah. I mean, these are all obviously quite emergency, but possible.
Yeah. There are many ways nowadays. We are not living before 50 years. Now there are many ways to communicate with people. We should not hold meetings, gatherings, which can cause risk on the health or life of anyone.
Sure. Thank you, Maulana. That's comprehensive, really well covered. Again, calls, please do send in your calls. I know it's very interesting listening to Maulana's views on Corona and the whole phenomena that we're all having to face up to. There is the politics and the economics of it, but Maulana's beautifully put together what our responsibilities as human beings and our religious responsibilities are. I don't think there's any disagreement we can have on that. Life comes first, the sanctity of life. And I think there is there's a prophetic saying that the saving of one life is like the saving of humanity. That's the Holy Quran.
Allah in Quran says, وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. Who saves one human life as if he has saved the whole human beings.
We have a call, Maulana. I think
yes,
I'm just going to try to connect our caller in. Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Caller, you're online.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah, please.
Yes, go ahead. Bismillah, your question please. Or your comment.
Assalamu alaikum, Maulana.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Janab.
I want to ask one thing. When was Namaz-e-Janaza was introduced, in which Islamic year? Because I understand somebody told me that Namaz-e-Janaza was not recited for Abu Talib and Bibi Khadija. Is that true?
Not true. Not true. Not true. Namaz-e-Janaza was recited on Abu Talib, was recited on Janab Khadija alayhi salam. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Very short and comprehensive there. There's another question that somebody sent in. Is it allowed for me to block anyone I don't like to talk to, even if it's my relatives? I don't know whether he means it's over the internet, social media, or in personal life, but what do you say to that question?
Blocking. It might be blocking on the telephone.
On the telephone, yes. Or...
I mean, are we allowed to block calls from anyone whom we don't want to talk to? The answer is no, we are not allowed to block the calls from anyone. We can block phones from people with whom we have no link. For example, nowadays some people call for marketing. They want to sell their goods. and they phone, you don't want to talk to people who want to sell, market through you, then block their number, no harm. But we are not allowed at all to block the number of any of our relatives, at all. That is cutting off with a relative, which is a major sin. قطيعة الرحم قطيعة الرحم قطع رحمي. Major sin. If you are unhappy with your cousin brother, with your aunt, with your cousin sister, with anyone, are you allowed to block their calls? No. Simply, it is not allowed to block the call of any of your relatives. Today, a person came with a question that he is a solicitor and his client has a case against someone else. He said that my client opponent is my real uncle. If I work to serve my client as am I supposed to, then I will harm my uncle. What shall I do? The answer: Islam does not allow us to harm any of our relatives. Even we are not allowed to harm anyone, especially if you know that this person is really doing wrong. If the person who is doing wrong is your uncle, you should not be acting on behalf of the opponent, the enemy of your uncle, because maintaining the relationship between the relatives is much more important than earning money from this case and that case. Leave this customer. Let him give the job to someone else. You should not lose the relationship between you and your uncle for the sake of the money which you'll get from your person who gave you the case. Yes, please.
Thank you, Rana. Somebody has written in to say, what do I do, saying if I forget which rakat I'm reading during my prayers, between, say, for instance, the first and second rakat, if I'm confused, how do I deal with that?
The doubt in the number of rakats sometimes has solution, and sometimes it invalidates the salah. Namaz is invalid when it has a solution and when it is without solution. Number one, to start with, we mean by doubt when the doubt remains. Sometimes doubt comes, and then after a while, when you think the doubt goes, then you think that most properly, it might be more than, because doubt means 50-50 possibility. When it becomes 60-40, you follow the 60. If it becomes 65-35, follow the 65. If it comes 55-45, follow the 55. Means more. If the doubt remained, then the doubt in the number of rak'ats in morning namaz and maghrib namaz, if it remains, then namaz is invalid. namaz is invalid, morning and maghrib. Even dhuhr, asr, isha. If the doubt comes in the first rakat or second rakat, then namaz is invalid if it remains, if the doubt remains. The doubt which has got a way out is the doubt in the dhuhr, asr, isha, means the salat of 4 rak'ats. If it comes doubting between 2 or 3, take it as 3. 3 or 4, take it as 4. Then when you take it as 3, when you doubted, is it second or third rakat? Take it as third. You finish your salah when you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, without saying anything, stand up and pray 1 rakat of namaz ihtiyat, salatul ihtiyat, which is only alhamd and without loud voice. Only alhamd. Ruku', 2 sujood, and tashahud, and salam. If you doubt whether it is third or fourth, take it as fourth. And after you finish Assalamu alaikum, before saying anything, stand up 1 rakat, which is Salat al-Ihtiyat. There are details. I advise you to read online also the details of the solutions for the doubts in the number of rak'ats during Salah.
Okay, thank you very much. Another question around salat and also fasting. This person says, I woke up after performing namaz very late. Can I fast that day as qaza or sunnah?
A person performed morning namaz on time, then he went to sleep. Then he woke up during the day late. He is asking, can I fast? It depends. What type of fast you want to fast? The fast of the month of Ramadan must start as an intention before Fajr. Before the time of Fajr, you must have the intention, niyat, of fasting. But if you want to fast nowadays, now we are in the month of Rajab, if you want to fast as qada fast, someone has got qaza, and a person who has got qaza fast, qada, is not allowed to fast recommended fast before he completes all his obligatory qada fast. If you want to fast qada fast, your niyat for qada fast must start latest by a second before Zuhr time, before midday. So nowadays midday is, say, 10 minutes past 12. So your niyat for fasting that day as qada must be before midday. If you have no qada fast on you and you want to fast mustahab, sunnat, recommended fast. Recommended fast can start any time during the day as far as the day is still. Means before sunrise, sunset, even 5 minutes before sunset. If you have not eaten anything, you didn't eat, didn't drink, didn't do anything which is against fasting, and you said, why not to fast today? Yeah, okay, let me fast today. Before Maghrib, yes, you can fast, and you will get the reward of fasting as mustahab, recommended fast.
Thank you very much, Maulana. Another question that's come in. My uncle has a digestive disorder and his stomach keeps producing gas. He doesn't know what to do with his salah or his namaz, as it were, because he's unable to perform wudu after every time he passes gas. So he's clearly got a medical problem here. What does he do, Maulana?
You see, this medical condition of some people who keep on passing gas or keep on dripping urine or similar, if this passing or dripping is completely continuous without any gap, then they should perform wudu. For every namaz, one wudu, and they pray salah. And even during the salah, when it passes, okay, the salah is valid. Because there is no other way. If the condition is such that they pass the gas or the urine or whatever, but not always, they have got some gap, interval, free from passing 5 minutes. They must keep their salah in that 5 minutes. They should perform wudu and perform salah in that period of purity. And if the period of purity is small, they should perform only the wajib recitation, no need for recommendation. No mustahab. Only the wajib, to keep all the wajib namaz within the time of purity.
Thank you very much, Syed. That's very informative. You can go to lots of sites to see which bits of the prayer are wajib or mustahab as well. So moving on to another question. There's an auction website, Maulana, in which people sell items and they write sold as seen. Can I sell faulty items in these websites without informing people openly about the faults of the item?
No. Islam does not allow cheating. Islam does not allow cheating. If the item is faulty, you must write faulty item and details of the fault. Islam does not allow hiding the problems of any material. When you want to sell something, you cannot sell it as sold as seen. You must inform the people that this item has got faults, this, that, number 2, 3, 4, 5, all details. If you don't inform the people about the whole situation of the item, anyone who buys it from you is being cheated by you. And this is haram, and the money earned from haram is also haram.
Okay, thank you very much. This text talks about a family who's traditional, old type of people who don't give the females in their family a share of inheritance as prescribed in Islamic terms. And this brother actually cites the fact that he's currently disputing the inheritance of his father among the family because they're not giving it to the sister. What should he do? What's the rights of the sister?
This practice of some people who think that the sisters are not entitled to take from the inheritance of their father because all of them are married and their husbands are responsible to spend on them. Or they say, we don't want to give the money of our father to her because the money will go to someone else, to her husband. That is not acceptable in Islam. In Islam, the daughter has got her right in inheriting her father or her mother. Exactly like the right of the brother, her brother. But the share of the brother is twice as the share of the female sister. Allah says in Quran, لِلذَّكَرِ مِثْلُ حَظِّ الْأُنْثَيَيْنِ, for the male twice the share of the female. Now this question says that in a family who are still thinking in the wrong way, away from Islamic teachings, the brothers are now distributing the inheritance of their father, not counting the sisters at all. And they want to give every of the sons his share. This is haram. You take your share, but you will have extra, which is the share of your sisters. That share of your sisters is not yours. You must give it back to them, to your sisters. You cannot give all the share of your sisters, because the share of all the brothers have taken the shares of all the sisters. Whatever you share, from your share, there is your real share, and there is extra, which is the share of your sisters. That extra, which belongs to your sisters, must be given to them, to your sisters, all of them.
Supplementary questions around this, Maulana, that come to mind. One is that, say, certain siblings have been not very nice to their parents, and then the parents decide they don't want to give them. Is that a right of the parent to do that?
No. If say a son was very bad to his father or his mother, and the father says, don't give him from my inheritance, that does not have any effect in Shariat. If a man does not want to give anything from his inheritance to one of his sons or his daughters, he cannot make it as a will, because will is invalid. He can gift whatever he owns, all his properties, money, in his life, to whom he likes. And then he can deprive the bad one from that gift. So if he gifts during his life, then the ownership transfers from him to the other person, then finished. Nothing remains. No inheritance. Inheritance, if the person, the deceased, has something. But when the deceased has already given it away and he owns nothing, so that person will be deprived.
Sure. Okay, that's
the only case we have got in Islam that a son or daughter or anyone from the family is deprived from inheritance if the person kills the inheritor.
I see.
The father, the mother.
Then it's...
Number one, no killer inherits the victim, the killed. And the other case, if the son or the daughter, if they go away from Islam, if they become non-Muslim, non-Muslim has no right to inherit from Muslim. Non-Muslim has no right to inherit from Muslim. Okay, a Muslim son, is he allowed to inherit his non-Muslim father or non-Muslim mother? The answer is yes.
Okay.
The Muslim inherits from non-Muslim, but non-Muslim does not inherit from Muslim.
I have to ask this question because
Bismillah.
this is one which I suppose Western feminists and others throw at Muslims generally. You talked about the shares of the ladies and the shares of the men. It's a common allegation and accusation that this is against equality. And in the modern age, we could come up with lots of excuses and reasons and of circumstances of the time. But what's the theological stand on God's decree here?
We speak in any matter in a realistic way. I don't want to tell those who object on us to go back to their own past, the recent past, not before 500 years. No. See, in UK, this UK, look in France, when the woman was allowed to own anything. You know, for centuries, women used to work and all the money goes to the man. Her own work, wages, goes to the man. Islam gives the woman full right of ownership. From the time of beginning, Hazrat Khadija alayhi salam was a business lady. She was doing business and she was owner of things, and which is not practiced in Europe for about 12 centuries after Islam.
Sure.
Islam gives the woman all her financial rights. And Islam does not put on the woman any financial burden. The financial burden in Islam is on the man. He is responsible to spend on her, and she is not responsible to spend on him. When he is responsible to spend on her, means she is always being supported, sponsored financially, then the inheritance, his share is double her share, because he has to spend. Being a father, he has to spend on his daughters. Being husband, he has to spend on his wife. Being son, he has to spend on his mother. So the man is always responsible to spend on all females in his family, like mother, wife, daughter. Okay. She has no burden. She does not have to spend on her husband or her children or her anyone. So that share which she gets from the inheritance is net. Net. And his share is gross with all the liabilities.
The add-ons, yes.
Yes. So that is justice. If you give them exactly equal when the responsibility is not equal, so that is the injustice. When the financial burden is not equal, so the income should be accordingly. That is the real justice.
Thank you very much, Rona. Good points and logical, really. It's also that I think in the old days there was much more of a, say, perhaps a farming society where, you know, if the woman went into the man's household, she was bringing her share, and it added to whatever the share of her husband was. And if that was the norm, where everybody got married, actually it all evened out. The women joining the men, it would become a collective, if you like, bank for them to deal with. But thank you for that.
I would like to remind, before we go from this episode, that simple things to be done for protection from the coronavirus, from any harm, from any illness. Simple. Number one, recite Ayatul Kursi after every namaz. Number 2, after every morning namaz, recite 7 times, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-Ali al-Azim. If you recite this 7 times, it will be protection for you and your family from 70 types of calamities and hardships. 7 times, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah al-Ali al-Azim. After morning namaz and after Maghrib namaz. Yes, please.
मौलाना 2 टेक्स्ट आए हैं, एक उर्दू में है, वो पूछते हैं इंसान मौत से बचने की कोशिश करता है लेकिन जहन्नम से नहीं, हालांकि वो जहन्नम से बच सकता है मौत से नहीं. दिस इज इमाम हुसैन अलैहिस्सलाम.
ये तो अक्ल की बात है
जी,
ये तो अक्ल की बात है. जिसके पास अक्ल हो तो really those who think properly, they know that all are dying. Healthy person dies and unwell dies. The matter is only difference in the dates, but the result is exactly the same. All of us are dying. Whether we die because of a virus or because of plane crash or because of car accident or because of anything else, we are dying. Life is such that no one remains in this life. كل من عليها فان. But the main thing which we must focus on is to save our future from hellfire and to save ourselves from hellfire is the biggest aim for those who have got aql, intellect, those who think properly, because our everlasting future is after this life, which can come immediately. It can come within minutes or seconds or hours. There is our future. All our efforts should be to keep our future, happy future, away from punishment. May Allah protect all of us and all the believers and all the mu'mineen from every harm. بحق محمد وآله الطاهرين.
Last 2 quick questions, Maulana. One is somebody who's asked about a book they received from a non-Shia Muslim brother explaining the way of Salat according to presumably the Ahl Sunnah school. Am I allowed to pass this book on to my friends?
A book claiming the way of Salah. In short, it depends on the narrations they rely on. If they take authentic narrations from Ahlul Bayt, from the Prophet, then yes. But those who are away from Ahlul Bayt, they take narrations from Tom, Dick and Harry, Abu Huraira and others, which have no value in front of Ahlul Bayt. A book having narrations from untrusted persons has no value. It can be misleading. Yes, it can be misleading because wrong narrations are misleading. Give people the real knowledge, not the misleading one.
Okay, well, I'm surprised often, Maulana, that after 1400 years, the Muslims managed to only divide the prayer into 4 or 5 schools. It could have been a lot more given.
In fact, there are more.
Oh, really?
The real schools among Muslims are more, but they became less because of the rule of Al-Zahir Baybars in the 6th Hijri century in Cairo.
I see.
Who gave an order that all the sects should be banned except 4. which the ruler was happy with: Hanafi, Shafi'i, Hanbali, and Maliki.
Okay.
Rest, no. Otherwise, among Sunnis, we had in the Sunni history the sect of Awza'i, sect of Sufyan al-Thawri, sect of Sufyan bin Uyayna. Many Sunni sects, but were banned by the government. And even Ahlebait, following Ahlebait, because that person, ruler in Egypt, was non-Shia. So he did not allow the followers of Ahlebait to be also a recognized sect.
Fascinating. We have to read our history on this. People often oversimplify things. Don't accuse other people of this and that if you don't have knowledge, really, because clearly the history, according to the ulama, and the reality is very, very complex. You have to study more carefully and be tolerant. But definitely the Holy Ahlul Bayt are the central focus point for anybody. Ultimately, it's agreed across all schools that that's the best source, actually, arguably the only original source left. Final question, Morana, for a fascinating show, is the question of the Kaaba and the harams of Masumin being closed. There was an incident yesterday, very concerning, in Qom, where some people even stormed, and Kaaba was also has been closed down. It's sensible, isn't it? But I don't know why. I mean, this person is obviously questioning this idea of our harams being closed down.
After all,
because of Corona, I guess, yeah.
it is not our emotion which brings the Islamic rules. It is the interest of Muslims, the safety of Muslims. If you open the haram of Masuma Qum and you cause one person infection, you will be responsible in front of Allah. If he dies, you will be also a partner. So those who say, because of the situation, which is unusual, we have got in Islam, الضرورات تبيح المحظورات, means emergencies allows the forbidden. In the usual situation, no one can close the haram. But when it becomes emergency, and the marja of taqleed, people who are concerned, who are looking after the haram, they see that haram should not remain open because it can cause spread of a virus which can kill people, and they close it. Everyone should obey the marja of taqleed. Marja of taqleed has got his vision according to the Islamic rules, Quran and authentic hadiths. Some people come out of emotion and shout, and this is, I respect their emotions, but I say it is wrong to object on the rule of the marja of taqleed, number one. And number two, are you ready to take the risk of life of a person who can get infected because of you? Yes, please.
Final note, somebody sends a fascinating note about Ayatollah Al-Hajj Sheikh Abdul Karim Hairi, founder of the Hawza Ilmiya of Qum, who actually was faced with engaging such a situation during the time when religious studies in the city of Samara, there was an epidemic in the form of plague spread amongst the inhabitants of the city, and every day several people would die of the disease. And there's a whole incident where then the Marja Taqleed actually gives a fatwa, and there's a whole incident. So there is precedent. And the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in his time there were plagues and epidemics. He made very clear instructions as well, it seems.
Yes. In short, all Muslims must listen to the divine leadership. Ahlul Bayt told us to follow the marja of taqleed, not to follow the emotions of the people. No, emotion are emotions after all. They have got their own circumstance and they want to go on. But you cannot go against the order of the marji of taqlid. He knows about religion much more than you. So we cannot make the less knowledgeable the leader and leave the more knowledgeable. Islam is with knowledge always. The most knowledgeable, the most learned must be followed, not the less.
Thank you very much. So, any final concluding remarks before we sign off?
We all need to seek from Allah more and more. Dua during the day and night, when you go to rest, to sleep, few seconds of sajda, even on your own bed, no need for wudu. Of course, it is mustahab, always before going to bed, it is recommended to perform wudu and go to bed. You will get the reward of the whole night of ibadah. But do sajda and seek from Allah by His most beloved servants, Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, to save you, your family, the mu'mineen, and everyone from this harm and any harm. Dua has got great value, great effect. The hardships can be removed away by dua. إن الله يرد البلاء بأيسر الدعاء. The huge calamity can be removed away by little bit of dua. Little bit of dua. Dua and sadaqah, charity. May Allah protect all of you, all the mu'mineen, everywhere from this harm and any haram. بحق محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Thank you, Sayyid Maulana Muhammad Musawi, for all of those wise words, and thank you for your texts and your calls and your inquiries. I hope that's been useful. As ever, for me, it's been extraordinarily useful. Lots of great questions that have got answered in my own mind as well. And look forward to seeing you again at the same time next week. Hopefully, Brother Naveed will be back. If not, I'll be very glad to chair the discussion again. Thank you for watching this edition of Question Time on Islam. Assalamu alaikum.